Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, in this episode right here of John Sucks at Video Games, we're gonna do part number 5 of our gaming PC build. And you know what, I'm pretty excited because in this video here, we're gonna start doing stuff. Yes, we're gonna get our hands dirty because, you know, in the previous videos, the last 4 videos we did, we've been talking about what we're gonna do, and in this video here, we're gonna do it. So I thought in this video here, we'd start out by putting our processor on the motherboard. Now I have an Intel Core i7, it's a 6-core processor. It's the i7 5820K, 3.3 gigahertz, and we're gonna put it on our motherboard. And our motherboard here is MSI X99A Gaming 7, and these are both 2011 socket, you know, the form factor that this chip mates with the motherboard, I guess, is a 2011 socket. So, matching motherboard, processor, and by the way, this is a very handsome motherboard. Would you agree? Look at this thing. It's stunning. It's all black and red. It's just badass, you know, and this is gonna look great in our case because we're gonna be running with that whole black and red theme throughout. So anyway, after we get the processor in, we're gonna have to put our cooling fan on top of it, and I have a Hyper 212 EVO right here, okay, and its Cooler Master is about 30 bucks, and I don't think it's gonna be too bad. And actually, I've been reading the instructions, and it looks like it's gonna be easier than most installations because with the 2011 series, you don't need to put this back plate on. So that's like an extra step that's removed from the installation because the motherboard already has the reinforcement on the back. So we don't have to worry about that, which is good. And then I did get some thermal paste. I picked up some Arctic Silver 5 on Amazon for like $7. We'll use this. We're gonna put this on top of the processor and in between our heatsink here, and that's going to help you know, evenly disperse the heat from the processor to the cooling fan. And then also we're going to put the RAM in after we get everything all together. Now Cooler Master with their fan kit comes with all kinds of hardware here. They did give me their own thermal paste, their own brand, but I guess we're not going to use that because everybody was yelling at me and telling me I needed to use Arctic Silver 5. I think that when I built my Athlon over there, you know, 14 years ago, I'm pretty sure I used this stuff too because I've always known about this brand, and I'm 99% positive I also used this when I built my Athlon. But anyway, all right, so let's get to work. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to put the processor on the motherboard, and I don't think it's going to be too bad. So we need to lift up these guys, okay? And there is like a cover on here, so let's see how this works. I probably should be reading instructions, but I'm not. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory. And by the way, you know, if you guys are scared of electrostatic discharge, you should probably wear one of those strap things that grounds you. I don't own one of those. You know, I work on arcade stuff all the time. I've never been worried about it. I've never been bit by it. I know it's probably cocky, but... So we're not going to do it, and I'm not worrying about it. I don't have a bracelet, so just don't rub your feet on the carpeting before you touch this stuff, and just ground yourself. You know, if you live in a house where the carpet is really staticky, you might want to invest in one of those straps. So all right, let's go ahead and remove this cover. Oh, I see. So no, this plastic piece has to come off. Okay. All right, so I got it. So our processor is going to drop in underneath here, okay, right there. And then this thing's going to go down over it, and then we're going to clamp it down with this stuff, okay? Let's just kind of do a dry run here. Just trying to figure out how this mechanism works. All right. So if there's numbers on here. It says 1... It's interesting, this... All right, John is figuring this out. John's never done this before. Oh, I see. Okay, so this one here is going to lock that down, and then this one here. Gotcha. And that's how it's going to go. All right, I understand now. So this one here controls, like, the back of it. I get it. And then this one here locks down the front of it. All right, so anyway, all right, so that's like that, okay? Now, I did a little bit of research here, and there is a triangle on here. It's right there in that corner. I don't know if you guys can see that. And so we got to make sure the processor lines up with that triangle that is right here. It's not actually really visible on the socket right here, but it is visible on the cover right in this corner, okay? So let's open the processor and see if that all makes sense. So obviously I need to be very careful here. I don't have any cleaning solution for this, so I really don't want to touch the processor, the top of it, in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to be very careful here. So here's our processor. You can see we have that triangle in the corner, okay? And if we look on here, there's a triangle right here, there's a triangle right there, so there's all kinds of triangle action going on. So we just got to make sure that triangle goes over here with these triangles, okay? All right, so let's open this up again. All right, and I'm gonna try to do this without touching this part up here, because that's where we're gonna put our thermal paste, and I don't want to get any fingerprints on there. So I'm gonna very carefully just try to only touch it on the sides. And so that's what the bottom of a CPU looks like. Isn't that pretty amazing? So let's come in here, and let's put our triangle to triangle. And we're just gonna kind of drop it in that socket, just like so, okay? And then I'm gonna come down and lower this. And then let's do this one here. Okay, and let's do this one over here. Okay, our processor is in. That is it. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so now we need to put our heatsink on. Now, I did read the instructions on the Cooler Master stuff, and this also looks pretty simple. So let me get my hardware. Now, they come with a bunch of different little standoffs, okay, for the fan. There's 2 different heights, and if you consult the manual like I did, it'll show you which ones are for 2011. If you look here in the manual, which is kind of a little cryptic, but Intel LGA 2011, the image they show here is the shorter ones, okay? Because if you compare on the other side, the Intel LGA 1366, 1150, etc., they clearly use the taller ones. So we need to use the shorter ones for the LGA 2011. Now these are little nuts, and it comes with a little like a tool that you put over it if you don't have the right nut driver. That way we can tighten them down with a screwdriver, which I realize now I need to go get. So let's get the standoffs out of here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our standoffs on. And there's, 4 little female sockets here where these screw in. And let's just screw these guys in there. And then our fan is going to basically screw into these, and it's going to be held to the processor. It is nice, though, because it's funny. All the videos I watched on YouTube showing how to do this, they had the motherboards that required the plate on the bottom. And I guess we're kind of lucky that we don't have to deal with that, because it's a lot simpler with the 2011 motherboards. And by the way, that's like the model number, not the year, I believe. Maybe they call it 2011, or is it 2001? What was it again? Yeah, 2011. Okay. All right, so we kind of have those all in there kind of hand tight. And so we're going to take our little adapter thing. I did go get a screwdriver. Put it over that, and we're just going to snug this stuff down. Don't want to go too crazy. And it doesn't take much to really snug it down. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're now ready to install our fan. Now, the fan can be a little tricky to install, okay? The first thing, so here's the bracket right here, and what's gonna happen is this is gonna go through the bottom of the fan like so, okay? And then these arms are gonna spread out, and then we're gonna screw them into the headers that we just put on the board, okay? That's the idea. Now, this is kind of a universal thingy, and so there's settings on it. And so we need to set it to our motherboard. And if we look here on the manual, it says Intel. So for the 2011, you need to pull these screws into the last slot, okay? Because there's 3 settings here on these slots. Can you guys see this? So that's like setting 1. The middle, there's a middle one, which is setting 2, and you just pull the screw out, and then you can move it forward and backwards like that. And so, according to the manual, the 2011 motherboards need to have these screws all the way at the end, the top, the outside on all 4 of them. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Just pull these back and move them forward like so. Okay. Now the other thing we have to consider is how this thing goes into the heatsink, because it can go in like this. Like this, you know, like right, let me back out a little bit here. Because it can go in like this. It can also go in like this. So which way does it go? So you got to make sure you look at the diagram here, and it shows how the legs should look, okay? See how they're kind of bent that way? And then and this is the wrong way, they're bent in, and then you want them bending out, okay? Bent out, bent out, bent out, not bent in like these right here. So all right, let's just kind of get this in the right position. We do want to take the fan off first before we do that, and I have to figure out how to do that. I think that this thing just kind of hooks on here. So let's get the fan off. I see. So we got these clips like so, okay? So the fan comes off just like that. All right, so let's put the fan out of the way right now. Okay, so let's kind of look at the bottom of this. I just want to get things kind of in position here, because once we put the thermal paste on, I don't want to waste too much time, and I don't want to be bumping into it with this part or that. So I just kind of want to get everything lined up. So it's going to go just like this. Let me just double check. Nope, that's wrong. It does not go like that. So let's take this out. And let's do it like this. That's how it goes, okay? So if we look at the diagram here, okay, see how the bends are here, right? And then if we look at our actual device here, the bends are doing the same thing. Now on the bottom here, there is a pin, okay? And that pin goes in the hole on the top of the heatsink right here, okay? And then there's another pin next to it, and if you don't have this in the right way, this thing will not sit flush on there. So right there, that is the right way. See how it's flush, okay? And if you don't have it in right, it's going to be like this, because there's going to be a pin preventing you from putting it in all the way. Okay, so that's that. So that's in the right spot. We're now ready to do it. Okay, so let's take our Arctic Silver 5. And we're going to put some of this on our processor. Now, there are some opinions about this. I did a little bit of research. I actually watched a Newegg video, and I think I trust them. They're the ones that sold me this stuff. And they say to put a blob on here that is about the size of a grain of rice, okay? Somewhere in between a grain of rice and a pea. Now, that seems like actually a big difference, but so I'm going to just kind of go for a little bit larger than a grain of rice. And the idea here is you're going to just put a little bit in the center, and then when the heatsink pushes on this, it's going to spread that stuff out and evenly coat the entire processor. That's the hope, okay? So let's get the cap off of this, and we're going to go for the grain of rice size. I'm just going to kind of squirt this in the center here. So I guess you really don't want to go crazy with this. So I think that looks good. What do you think? A little bit more? This is John's OCD now. It's going to take over. All right, we'll just put a dab more, okay? So, all right. So that's that. So we're now ready to do this, guys. So let me get my little securing bars in here. And I'm just going to back off here a little bit. All right. Okay, so now we're going to remove this little warning sticker that's on the bottom. Okay, we can't have that on, so let's take that off. Again, I'm being very careful. I don't want any fingerprints on any of this stuff. Okay? And we're ready to do this. All right, so let's kind of come in like this. And we're going to drop it in here. All right, so let's line up. This is a little hairy. Just trying to line everything up. All right, we're made contact with the processor. It's sliding around on that goop. So let's get this stuff to line up here. And then when you tighten these down, I'm just gonna get them started by hand here, and then we'll go in and do it for real using the quote-unquote star method. All right. Okay, I'm not. Oh shit. Trying to get these screws in here. We do have to kind of put some force on them to get them in the hole. Alright. Alright, I got them all started now. So our processor is still kind of floating around. Alright, so let's tighten this down, and we're gonna just go basically crisscross. We're gonna do this one, then the one opposite it on the other diagonal, and then we're gonna come do the one across and then diagonal again, so that we're getting kind of even pressure on this all around. So I'm just gonna come in here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then let's come on this side, diagonal, and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll come do this one. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's come back over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're kind of really getting in there. Our processor's not moving anymore. Okay, so that wasn't too bad, was it? It's like, this is probably the hardest part, I bet, of the whole PC build right here. So, all right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's come over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On your mark. Let's go this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm guessing that this is gonna bottom out here soon. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so let's go do this. I'm gonna do this 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just trying to have even pressure on this as it goes down. All right, there we go. We just bottomed out. That was like 2. I'm not gonna go crazy tight. Just bottomed out. Just bottomed out. All right, we're in. Okay, so this thing is still kind of moving on there. Just want to make sure we got this in right and it's nice and flush, and it is. I don't like the fact that I'm able to move this. It's kind of like sliding, I think, on the compound. I'm gonna assume that that's normal. I'm just gonna kind of come in here and snug this up a little bit. It's pretty tight. On your mark. Okay. All right, so that's it. We got it on, and now we need to put our fan back on. So I guess the question is, do I want it blowing this way or that way? I'm guessing it probably doesn't matter. I've got RAM on either side of it. So why don't we just put it on this side here? I guess we just need to look at where all the headers are and what can clear. Let's put it on this side. And this thing just snaps right on. Need to get it centered though. Okay. So that's that. Our fan is back on. Okay. Now we need to plug our fan in. That wasn't too bad, right? Did we do okay? I'm a little troubled that this is moving. It barely moves. I'm hoping and assuming that's okay. All right, so we have our little fan header here. Okay, so this little power cord goes on to this header right here that's labeled CPU fan. CPU fan 1, okay, and we have this little Molex type connector. It only goes on one way, so we can't really screw it up, so it's going to go on just like so. Now, we have an issue right now because we got this cord just kind of hanging out here. So we're going to have to figure out a way to neaten this up at some point. For now, I'm going to let it go. But when it comes time to when we're doing our cable management, we might zip strip this thing, because this thing's way longer than we need it to be. You know, maybe we can do something like that. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it right there, because we'll do that much later. I wonder if I should just get a zip strip. I want to take these stupid warning stickers off of here. Okay. Oh, warranty void if removed. Whoops. So we're basically gonna want to zip strip it like this. You know what? I'm gonna go get a zip strip, and let's do that while we can. Okay, I went to the garage and got some zip strips. I got red ones. What do you think of that? And you know, I'm out in the garage and I'm thinking to myself, I guarantee you the first comment I get is that I use too much of the thermal paste. I know it's coming. I'm just waiting for it right now. John, you use too much thermal paste. Something tells me I'll be okay. We'll see. We can always redo it, you know, if I have heat issues. Alright, let's see if we can carefully do this in a tasteful way here. Okay, what do you think? Does that look better? I'd say so. So let's put our CPU header on. And let's come in here. Just snug this up a little bit. And trim it back. Okay. So we have our CPU fan on our power header, our heat sinks on here, and we are done. Still don't like how this thing moves. Maybe as it heats up, you know, everything expands. Maybe it'll tighten up over time. I don't know. We'll just take a mental note that that's a little loose. I'm not sure if that's normal. So, okay, so I want to put our RAM in. And we have the Ripjaws DDR4 memory. This is 2800 RAM. We have 32 gigs of this stuff. And I did read the manual for their motherboard. And it absolutely matters where we put this RAM. And let me find that part in the manual, because we definitely need to read that. Because I think if we don't put it in the right spot, it does not recognize it all, okay? So we're going to be in quad channel mode here with 4 memory modules. We want to be in socket 1, 3, 7, and 5, okay? DIMM 1, DIMM 3, DIMM 7, and DIMM 5. Okay, so if you have a dual channel mode with 2 sticks, you're in 1 and 5. If you got 3 memory modules, you're in 1, 3, and 5. Quad channel, and then it goes into quad channel with 6 sticks. And then 8 memory modules. You just obviously you put them in every one of them. Okay, so we are going to use slot 1, 3, 7, and 5. And so if we look at the motherboard, I'm assuming that these are all clearly marked on here. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so 1 is the furthest one. Okay, so this is slot 1. This is slot 3. Okay, so let's open up our RAM and let's stick these guys in here. And you know, these things are keyed. They've always been keyed, so there's only one way we can put them in. And we got a cool G.SKILL sticker here, which we're not going to put on our... We're going to have no stickers on our case. So, all right, so 1 is right here. That's 3. Oh, really? These ones here are just dummies? Interesting. Huh, I've never seen that before. So, these ones here open. These ones are static. You guys see this? So right here, these ones move. On your mark. But these ones on this side are static and don't move. Okay? Alright, so here's our RAM. Stuff is sexy. Got some cool heat sinks on them. What do you think? we got the black and red thing going. There's a little bit of blue down here. I guess we'll have to live with it. So we're gonna line up our little socket, our little pin here. See that right there, that notch? We gotta line it up with the notch on the motherboard. And it goes in just like so. I'll just push that down till that thing clicks onto it. And then we'll do the same thing here in the third socket. Okay, so we've got our 2 sticks in right there. So let's come on this side. And again, looking at the manual, we need 1, 3, 5, and 7. Okay, so if we look at the diagram on here, 5 is this one, and 7 is that one. So let's go ahead and open those up. 5 and 7, right there. And we'll come in, line up our notches. Okay. This is starting to look pretty beastie here. And let's put our last stick in. Go. Okay, that's it. We are done. So we have our CPU fan on, we have our processor in, and we have our 32 gigs of RAM installed. So we are ready now to put this into the case, and really, we don't have that much more to do, guys. I think we got the scary stuff over with in this video, and we will continue this in the next video. But I tell you what, before we go, why don't we do some viewer mail? I'm going to clean up here a little bit, and let's do some viewer mail, and let's just chit-chat for a little bit. What do you think? All right, guys, so yeah, I think we did pretty good. What do you think, huh? This thing looks like a sports car. So, wasn't too bad. A little hairy, you know. Putting the heatsink on the processor is definitely a little hairy because you know you're kind of worried the whole time because, well, you read so much stuff online. You know, everyone's got different opinions about how much grease to put on. You know, put it on the size of a piece of rice. Put it on in the middle in a blob. Use Arctic Silver 5. The Cooler Master stuff's good enough. So all this stuff's in your head, and then of course the parts are not cheap. You know, you don't want to ruin your $400 processor. So. But I think we did okay. I think that we're off to a good start here, and really now we need to put this in our case and start hooking everything up to it, including our video card. I think the best move here is to put the video card when this is in the case, because I believe the video card is going to hook into the case and to give it stability. So anyway, we'll do that in the next video. I did want to show you guys. I did pick up this in between the last video. And I know that a few of you guys made comments saying that I did not need a DisplayPort cable to do 1080p video because my monitor is a 2560 by 1080. Now listen, the monitor came with an HDMI cable, okay, and I guess I could have used that, but really I needed to get a longer cable because I think I'm going to put the PC on a spot that's kind of far from the monitor, so I ordered a 10-foot cable, and I figured that if I'm ordering a cable, I might as well get the latest technology, which is DisplayPort, and that way this cable will last me a lot longer if I upgrade later to 1440p or even 4K gaming down the road. So I got a 10-foot DisplayPort because I needed 10 feet, and this was like $8. It's not expensive, and I needed to get a cable anyway, so might as well get DisplayPort. So anyway, okay, so let's do some viewer mail. Oh, by the way, I gotta tell you guys, if you guys watch John's Arcade, my other channel, I'm giving away this phone. This is an LG G4. It's brand new. It is unlocked. LG actually contacted me earlier in the year, and they wanted me to review this on my arcade channel. And I said, well, I'd rather give it away because I don't review phones, you know. And they said, fine, no problem. So I kind of sat on it for a while. and I've been meaning to give it away like the past 6 months, and I'm finally got around to doing it. So this is kind of a Christmas present for me to you guys. So go to johnsarcade.com. You have until December 21st if you want to win the LG G4, and just go to johnsarcade.com. There's a little raffle copter thing you can enter, and I'll be giving this away December 21st. My hope is that I get it in the mail, you know, and it gets to you guys before Christmas. That's my hope. So, and this is not a cheap phone. This is a pretty legit phone. I think it's like 600 bucks. So, johnsarcade.com, you guys can enter to win that. Okay, so let's do some viewer mail. And by the way, if you guys want to participate in the viewer mail segment, you need to email them to me at blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com, blkdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, you got to put John space sucks, okay? That's how I find these emails. I search by subject line, and it has to say John space sucks, and if you don't put that in there, I will not find it. I won't. So, all right, first one's from Romeo. He says, hello, John. Sensational video, but you forgot one part. If you want to play the latest games, you need a 4 terabyte mechanical drive to install Windows 10 to install, okay? Then he goes on. Windows 10 Pro installation is around 40 gigs, so you might not have enough space to install games, and to install the latest games, you're looking at 20 gigs a game. So if I was you, I would invest in a 4 terabyte mechanical drive. Keep up the great look, mate. Well, Romeo, I'm going to tell you something. This build here is all about going forward. So I'm not going backwards at all in this build. Not at all, okay? No mechanical drives are going on this machine. I'm solid state all day long, okay? So right now I've got 750 gigs of solid state goodness, Samsung EVOs. So that is definitely gonna get me going, okay? We can easily install the OS on there, all of my programs, and a handful of games. Now I don't have to have every game installed on my computer, right? There's no sense in having 100 games on my computer because I'm not gonna play 100 games. So I'm probably, over time, you know, I will add more storage space, but if it becomes an issue immediately, I'll probably manage it through Steam. You know, I'll have, you know, 10 games installed, and if I get bored of this one, I'll uninstall it and install something else. You know, that's kind of my plan. And so when I do add more drives, though, Romeo, I'm gonna stick with solid state because I just want to. So I don't want to use mechanical drives anymore. And it'll be interesting to see over time how reliable they are, you know, because I've never had a computer with a solid state drive. Now that I think about it, and so it'll be interesting to see over time. I believe they're way more reliable than they were. I know that everyone said back then, you know, a few years ago, that they have limited read and write. You know, you can only read and write to them so many times, and then they just kind of die. So we'll see what happens, but I'm taking my chances, and we're going to stick with solid state. This one's from Craig. Hey, John, it's Craig from Birmingham in the UK. We have spoke a few times in your video comments. I know you used to play old school games. I wonder if you ever played Elite on the Atari ST or the Amiga. I asked because it would be great as a first game to see you try. It's from Steam. Elite Dangerous is the latest now out, and I think it'd be a great, it would look great running on your machine. Well, Craig, I'll tell you, I don't know much about Elite at all. I seem to have heard of it, but I never had an Atari ST. I was an Atari 800 guy. I couldn't afford the ST when I was a kid, so I never played it. But I will certainly look at it. I did before the show look at some screenshots. It looks like a space game where you're piloting spacecraft. I could get behind that. So Craig, I will put this on the list, and we will look at Elite Dangerous on Steam. All right, this one's from Anders. Greetings. As you saw in the comments of the Gaming PC Build Part 3 video, I just built myself a new PC for gaming and video editing purposes, which is what I'm doing right here. I'm having trouble finding a good video editing software that doesn't cost me an arm and a leg like Adobe Premiere Pro or Sony Vegas. I tried Corel Video Studio Ultimate X 8.5, but the results were so bad, all jittery and jumpy with weird lines. The export options were somewhat limited too. What software do you plan to use for editing your videos on your new PC? My main reason for video editing is to make short promo videos with gameplay for mobile games that I make. I use open broadcast software to screen capture the games at 360 frames per second. Would love to know your thoughts about this. Thanks for all the great videos you create on YouTube. Keep them coming, Anders. Okay, so Anders wants to know what video editing software I plan on using with this computer. Well, Anders, you know, I have an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, okay? It costs me $50 a month, and I have everything. I have every program that Adobe makes. You know, I have Illustrator, Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere, Flash, it goes on, Dreamweaver, it goes on and on and on and on. And I tell you, I love it. I absolutely love Adobe Creative Cloud. Like, love, love, love it. Because 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 3 years ago, I would always have to upgrade my software, like on Illustrator and Photoshop, if I wanted to stay current. And it became a big problem with Illustrator because if someone sent me a file that was saved in a newer version of Illustrator and I was like 1 or 2 versions behind, I couldn't open it, okay? You don't have that trouble so much with Photoshop, but Illustrator was a big hassle. And it was costing me $300-400 a year to upgrade Illustrator and to keep current, right? Now look at this, I'm paying $600 a year, okay, which is a little bit more than I was paying just for Illustrator. So I'm paying $600 a year, and I am current with a Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, Dreamweaver. Those are 5 programs that I use all the time, okay? That is a really, really good deal, guys, because a few years ago, if you were to set out to buy all of those programs and keep them current, you were into thousands of dollars every single year. So I really believe in Adobe Premiere, Adobe Creative Cloud. I also think that Adobe Premiere is a fantastic program. That's how I edit all my videos. And the thing is, again, with Creative Cloud, you're always current. They're always updating it. You always have the best export options, like 60 frames per second to YouTube or 4K to YouTube. So you're always current, and you're not messing with this kludgy software. So I would strongly look at Creative Cloud. Now, you don't have to get every single thing like I do for $50. You can just do a subscription to one app only. And I think it's only like $20 a month. So strongly look at Adobe Premiere, because after that on the PC, it's like, basically it's Windows Movie Maker, which I don't even know anything about that. It's garbage. So I mean, this is the thing where the Mac is better, because Macs come with iMovie. iMovie is super competent. It's a great video editing piece of software. I use iMovie forever to do John's Arcade videos. You know, I upgraded to Premiere the last couple years, but like the first 3, 4, 5 years of John's Arcade, I was using iMovie, and that was the free software that came with the Mac, and it was super powerful. You could do so much with that, including now export 60 frames per second. So this is where the PC kind of lacks a little bit, because Microsoft software they give you is not as strong as the stuff that Apple gives you. But, you know, if you stick with someone like Adobe, you can use it on any system. You know, like me, I have an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription that I can use on Mac and PC. So it doesn't matter what system I'm on. I have my Adobe software everywhere. So that's going to be my answer. That's the only thing I could possibly recommend to you is Adobe Premiere, unless you want to get into Avid, which is like how they do like TV shows, but that's going to cost you even more money. So all right, guys, that's it. It gets so hot down here when the games are on. When the games are on, I got that light on me. I just start sweating. I'm not really a sweaty guy. So, anyway, all right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm getting excited. I would like to finish this in the next few days. I think we can knock it out in one more video. So I would like to do one more video where we finish this gaming build and start to install Windows 10. That's my plan. And I think that once we get Windows 10 installed, we might have a mess on our hands with drivers. We'll see how that goes. I know that the MSI comes with some discs that probably have all the drivers for this motherboard. I did hear that the Ethernet will not work out of the box once Windows 10 boots initially, because you need to install the driver to make that come alive, which tells me that it was a good move to get a USB a CD-ROM, a DVD-ROM drive, because we're going to need that to load the driver on here to get the Ethernet working so we can get on the internet and get the rest of the drivers. So anyway, we'll cover that in the next video. So, all right, guys, hope you liked it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, all that stuff, and be sure to tell me that I used too much thermal paste. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'll see you very soon. Check out my podcast, Video Game Outsiders, at videogameoutsiders.com and Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com. I'll see you guys very soon. Later and bye.